Okay, this is part 2 of my winter sewing video. If you didn't see the first one, go back a few reels till you see the first one. And I just use regular potting soil. This is already a little moist, so I don't have to add a lot of water. But with all my seeds starting, it's just so the soil just starts to clump together. That's if it's in seed trays or winter sowing, just so it starts to clump is the best. And then just stuff them full with soil. I like to use as much soil as I can. That's why I cut it just under the handle here, because Kansas gets really hot and kind of dry a lot of times, so just the more soil you have, the less you have to water, obviously, I guess. Okay, let me go get my seeds. Okay, so I am going to winter sow bachelor buttons. They do really well. So I'm going to do these pink ones, blue ones from my seed stash, and I have a bunch of orange milkweed seeds I've saved from my field of wildflowers. So all things that do really well winter sowing. So the pink bachelor buttons, I just sprinkle them over the surface. I just grab a handful of seeds and just sprinkle them over the surface. And then I just grab some soil. Bachelor buttons are supposed to be a 1/4 inch deep, or 1/4 inch deep. And then I just sprinkle a little soil over the top of them. And they're good to go. Now I like to put a plant tag in here because I usually write on the outside of the container and then put a plant tag in here too, because the sun ends up bleaching them and it's not fun when you have a mystery plant. So I double up with the plant tags. So magic marker, so pink, bachelor button, and I put the date. Okay, and then stick it on the side, and that's already really moisty in there, so I'm not gonna water it right now. Okay, then I'll write it on the container. And you can write it on the bottom too. I do that a lot. The sun won't fade it on the bottom, obviously. And then you just tape it up. Oh, that's a little too much, but okay. So that one is good to go. So I'll just line them up in my garden. And make sure you leave the lids off at the top so that the moisture can get in. But I don't worry about them much until probably closer to March, when the temperatures can really start to, we'll have days of March where it could be, really warm. So in those warmer days, if we haven't had any rain, I might go throw some hose water over the top of them. But then once they sprout, that's when I really start keeping an eye on making sure that they're watered. What I have found works best, because it's hard to hold a hose over the top and water these, believe it or not, when you have 100 of them lined up. It's time consuming, but what works really well is to get a storage container and, fill it with yay amount of water, and then just pick them all up and set them in there until they absorb the water. That works really well. So that's usually what I do for watering these. But if they sprouted and we get below freezing temperatures, I cover everything with a blanket. I just cover everything with frost cloths, old sheets, blankets, whatever, to keep it warmer. So it works really well. Okay, so moving on to my blue bachelor buttons and just sprinkle them on. Okay, if you plant too many seeds in one container and it's like, you know, stuff full, what I do, you can cut them into chunks. Just take that individual chunk and, you know, pot it where you want it. And just put a little bit of soil over the top. Tape up the open part and she's good to go. Now I'll do my milkweed. Since milkweed seeds are bigger, what I'm gonna do is I will space these out. So I'm still gonna put several in there, but rather than scattering them, I'm gonna place them in there. So they need to be buried 1/4 inch. So I just push them down a little ways. With my finger, and then just pinch the soil over the top. Milkweed is done. So all of these, like I said, I'll just set in the garden and they're done. If you have any questions, let me know.